Fourth grade student musicians, Mr. Osborne here, looking at the next slide, guitars and fretted instruments. So here, and I actually already did spend some time talking to you about this in the first slide, so I'm probably not going to spend oodles and gobs of time talking to you about it here. These instrument anatomies, you'll find the instrument, you'll be able to listen to it. This is ukulele. You can hit here to reveal some of the parts of the musical instrument. You'll also notice there's 4 strings there. Let's move on to the acoustic guitar. All right, this one, again, you can play the sound so you can hear the sound of the instrument. You can reveal to show all the different parts of the instrument. And good. Let's move on to the electric guitar. This one's kind of fun. You can play it. Yeah, pretty awesome, right? You can open this up to look at the different parts. Yeah, pretty cool. And then finally, banjo. You can listen to that. Makes you think of bluegrass. Good stuff. Good country music there, right? All right, bluegrass. A little different than country, but that's the banjo, and you'll see the parts to it. Okay, moving on. We're going to look next at this play or just listen. So this one is Kudu, where you listen to Gwenda, and you might remember Gwenda from previous things. She will teach you a little bit more about this. So let's listen.
Hey students, today we are going to use QStrum to create a short composition. We are currently in the process of creating a new QStrum creative for use. However, it is still under construction.
Okay, now just to let you know, the QStrum is already done, and they've got it now to where it's not in Flash. So when she says something about Flash, don't worry about Flash. We are not using Flash. Flash is gone. It's never coming back as far as I know, and we're not using it. And neither is Quaver, and neither is Bentonville Schools, so don't worry about that.
If you have Flash enabled on your browser, you will still be able to access the original creative from the studio. If you have guitars, this activity can be used in your classroom without using any Quaver creatives. All right, let's get started. As you can see, there is already a composition built into QStrum. We are going to alter the existing chords to create a new composition. Let's take a listen.
Okay, so what you have here is basically an 8-measure phrase, and this is pretty much industry standard. This is what the sound is today. And what you're finding is these chords, as they're kind of strung together, you'll find that you got C to A to F to G back to C. And if you were to give these each numbers, like C would be 1, A would be 6, and F would be 4, G would be 5, C would be 1. And it's like, I can't keep all that together. But as you listen to this music and you listen to what it sounds like, you start to get this idea. And this is what we call in music chord progression. So you progress from one chord to the next. Now that's kind of advanced a little bit, but if you're playing guitar right now anyway, which I know some of you probably are doing, you'll know. And if you have some folks that play guitar, or you have some older brothers, sisters that play, have them sit down and play this for you, and listen along. Or if you're playing, go ahead and pull out your guitar and play yourself, and enjoy that. Listen a little bit more.
Awesome. First, I'm going to start by replacing the A minor chord in measure 3 with a D minor chord. But I'm going to keep the rhythm the same. Make sure to also change the bass part to D.
Yeah, that's really important too, is when you're listening to this, if you change the stuff up in the upper guitar, you also need to change the bass guitar as well. Okay, moving on.
Next, I'm going to change the C chords in measure 4 to an F chord, and I'm going to change the rhythm to pattern 2. As you build your composition, periodically stop and listen to your piece to evaluate what you've created.
Yeah, that's always super duper important. and don't go really long and then come back, because then you end up having to fix a whole bunch of stuff. So just, like a couple measures at a time, fix it that way. And that's really how to do it. And that's how they do it in Nashville and other different places. They just, sometimes one measure at a time, sometimes an 8-measure phrase at a time. So yeah, that's what, that's how they do it.
Let's take a listen. The type of chords used and the order you put them in will change the mood. See?
Okay, yeah, and that's something else too that I really love about this, that you get a chance to check it out. So have fun with this. I'll let you spend more time with it. I'm going to stop on that now and move forward. The next one is a guitar quiz, and this is just kind of a fun practice quiz. And if you've ever done any Quaver Quickie quizzes, you'll know how this works. Well, let's do a couple so you can see what it's all about. True or false? Only country music can be played on guitar. And now I tell my students all the time, anytime you see the word never or only, you can already know this is not going to be a true statement. So, bingo schmingo. No.
We're going to have each player come up. What?
All kinds of styles can play on a guitar, not just one style of music. Guitars are made up of necks, bodies, pipes, frets, arms, bodies, strings, necks, strings, frets, bodies. So you get to I don't remember what we've been looking at so far. So you might go like that. Hey, don't worry if you get that. Just try. Oh, that didn't work. What about? No. Okay, well, there's the answer.
Instruments that have necks, strings, frets, and bodies.
Okay, moving on. And like I said, they do these videos at the end of each one. So it's kind of fun too, because you learn more that way. And notes needed to get to guitar. Would it be this? Would it be any notes? That? Or is it every animal deserves great breakfast every day? There you go. All right.
Remember,
I'm going to stop there for that, and let's kick on to some other stuff. This one down here is fun, because this one is a way for you to kind of create some songs. And this is kind of, this has got like all these different instruments like keyboard, synthesizer, drums, percussion, and bass. I want to think there's like an Apple product that does something similar to this, and it's got all these instruments that you can play together. I'll think of it in a minute, but I can't think of it right now. Anyway, you'll notice here that it shows like keyboards, and it shows C and then F, or C and E minor, then F, and then G, or C back to C. So this is what I tell my students. This is what we call chord progressions. And so when you see that in a keyboard, you'll notice the same thing happens in the synthesizer. Now the drums don't really have anything, because they're just playing rhythms. They're not playing pitches. So the pitches, you want to make sure that the pitch instruments all do pretty much the same thing. So if you've got C major here, then you want to put a C major in the bass. So I would throw this up in there. And then if you look carefully back here, you'll notice that there's an E minor there. Well, another thing that you can use with E minor is, of course, G major. And with that one, I would put your G major chords here. And then if you look back up here, you'll see F major. And so again, coming back down here and going over here to your piano keyboard, put an F major. And then if you look very carefully, it goes back to C up here. So again, I would come back down here and go back to your C on the piano, and then maybe throw this in and this in. Now listen to what it sounds like. So you got an 8 measure phrase, and you started with C, and I also call that number 1. So you got 2 measures of that, and then you go to E minor, and of course its relative major is G, so that's a 5 chord. So you've got 1 chord, 5 chord, and then you come over here and you see the F. Well, that's C, D, E, F, so that's a 4 chord, and so you got that there. And then you go back to C major, and that brings you back to a 1 chord. That's called a chord progression. It's called a 1, 5, 4, 1 progression. And you see these all the time in music, and it sounds like this. And it gives you a chance to see why bass is so important to the group. You know, having that bass guitar play along with the other instruments. Okay, let me kick out of that. And there's Instrument Jeopardy, and I think you pretty much know how to play that game. So I'm going to leave that to you, and we'll talk to you soon.